The racing season is over. The pigeons have finished their body molt, where they shed their feathers for new shiny plumage, and that means we can now start putting plans together ready for breeding early next year. A lot of people say they don't like to over-medicate, giving antibiotics and all that kind of stuff to their pigeons because they don't need to, which I agree with. But worming doesn't come under that. So we worm the dog, he gets wormed every month or two. If you've got horses, you worm those. If you've got cows and cattle, you worm those because they've got access to water, a puddle like that, the gutter. We've just changed the gutter on the house. And when I went through that, I could see all like worms, maggots. They're bigger size, not parasitic worms, but there's all sorts in there. Sometimes when the birds come back, they'll land on the roof and they'll take a drink out of the gutter. Yeah, they don't care. The same with that one there, and then they've got wild birds drinking out the same water source. So when you send them off to a race, if they get thirsty on the way back, you don't know where they're going to be drinking, right? So what we need to do is worm them. Now that it's the end of the season and before we start breeding, we'll give them a wormer now, because the only access to any water that they've got while they're locked up in there is the water that we give them. And hopefully what will happen is it'll kill any of the worms inside, but any of the eggs or anything that they expel or parasites they expel them onto the floor, they might end up picking that up and picking eggs up. And there might already be some eggs actually on the floor that they then consume later. So we've got to make sure that we kill all the worms. Yeah? I'm going to do that. You don't know what a worm is?
I know what a worm is. It's a little creature that wriggles around in the ground.
Say again?
It's a little creature that wriggles around in the ground.
So they're just regular like earthworms, but when we're talking about worming, we're talking about parasitic worms, and there's various different types of parasitic worms. This is a good thing actually. So parasitic worms are tiny, microscopic. We can actually have a look in the microscope. We'll get the microscope out and we'll see if they've got them, and we'll see if we can clear them if they have got them. But what parasitic worms will do is they'll attach themselves. They've got like hooks on their mouths. They're absolutely tiny, and they'll attach themselves to the intestine of the pigeon. This is your Calpol syringe. So. Oh no, it's a different nozzle. I'm going to get into that. I'm going to have to pour it out into a... I'll have to pour it out. Okay. I'm going to have to pour it into this. Oh no, that's going to take forever. How am I going to get into that? I haven't got the box. I can't get into, look at that tiny little hole. I'm going to get that out. Can't make that up to it, can I? How do I get that out without the syringe?
There's a piece of tape. So you open this up, yeah? Can you open this up? .0 milliliters, and you need to dilute into 2 liters of drinking water and offer to the birds over a 3-day period. Do not allow the birds to drink from any other source.
This separate from the water. 2. I would definitely do this with gloves. And again, so this is how not to worm your pigeons, right? That's what our channel should be called. We're rubbish at it. So I wasn't very well prepared for that at all. Right, let's go and worm the birds. As ever on this channel, I don't shy away from my own incompetence, so if you're planning on worming your own pigeons, make sure to not misplace a syringe that comes with the bottle. There we go, all wormed. Right. Earlier in the year, I got a call from a fancier up in Doncaster. Nigel had seen the channel and invited me over for a visit, and also to discuss plans for his own YouTube channel. Nigel is obsessed with pigeon racing and had lots to say, so good job I took extra batteries.
That's your motto, what you must always stick to. There's 72 breeding pairs down the left-hand side here.
The first thing I noticed is the size of Nigel's loft. It's huge compared to most lofts I've seen in the UK. The second is his dedication to the sport. He is a fanatic.
So these are basically 12 pairs in each, but the 12 pairs are a different line of pigeons. So in here we'll have a line that's through a certain Leo Herman cock, and every pigeon will be related. The next one's again all related to the same long distance pigeons in here. And then we move on to all sons of Northern Bound in this section. They're all out at Avery's throughout day.
So Northern Bound is?
Northern Bound he was champion pigeon 2 years running in Midland National. He's basically a crossbred that came right for me.
Right.
And from that cross and getting that good pigeon, then I start a new line all bred through him. I had a real good pigeon called Steady Eddie, and he were an Artog cock. And wherever you sent that pigeon, he always gave it his best shot. Well, through his children, crossed into pigeons that I bought from Eric Lindbergh, we got Northern Bound. And like I say, what I do is once I get that real good pigeon, then I start my new line all bred through him. I've got long distance. We have sections here for long distance through to extreme distance, which is going into second day racing. But like I say, mainly the Northern Bounds pigeons are mainly based for sprint middle distance. Well, these in here these are long distance ends. So these are all the ends that's been sorted for long distance. These range from young ends this time, going through to some of these ends in here 2017 pigeons.
And what did you what?
These are all based for 500 mile onwards.
Right, so these are your extremes.
These are like long distance through to extreme long distance.
Yeah.
When I breed stock my stock pigeons, I'd rather have a double grandchild of a champion than a direct child. When you're buying them off these people like Battenberg, they've got the ends to pair to these champion pigeons. And I'm a big believer that if you can get that top pigeon coming down both lines of your pedigree, you've got more chance of getting what we're actually looking for from that cross. Yeah. I used to have every year there used to be a bus load came from Ireland, and we used to talk about how I bred pigeons and what have you. And I used to say, listen, they've got to pass the Ribena test. And they'll say, what do you mean by the Ribena test? I said, well, look. And I used to draw my pedigree out. And I said, right, what have you bought there? You've just been to Belgium, you've called here and you've told me you've bought a grandchild out of this certain pigeon. So wife went and she brought me a glass for every part of that pedigree. So I'd got a glass spot pigeon, what they bought, 2 glasses for parents and so on down to grandparents. I said, bring me all different flavoured drinks that you can think of, what we've got in fridge or in cupboard. And I put all these different flavours into these glasses, then mixed them, and then the final mix, what pigeon is bought, and we used to call it Ribena, because Ribena were the champion what he were hopefully breeding to, or buying from. And when it come to tasting it, I said, can you taste Ribena? He says, no. I says, no, because you've got all these different ingredients into it. I says, so what you need is you need Ribena in this part at pedigree, that part at pedigree, and then that's going to come through into bloodline. You've more chance of getting what you're looking for. This fella's the son of Northern Bound. He's breeding a proper, real nice type of pigeon that's coming and racing well for me. But when I was talking before about type, the thing with Northern Bound had come from 100 mile in front of all my sprint pigeons. He'd come to win race, but 9 times out of 10 he'd never go through the door. He'd just fly around like clapping. And that's because of his build. And basically, this cock's exactly the same as him. They're built like sprinters. And when I say breed to type, this is the type of thing I'm looking for, where there's no movement in the pigeon, look. It's chiselled out at the same piece of wood. There's no hinges fitted on him anywhere. He's just a solid, beautiful type that is built for racing. So this is what I'm wanting in my race pigeons. Now, the beauty of this fella is not only has he got the physical aspect of what we're looking for, he's also got the mental, because he's bred through a middle to long distance family of pigeons.
It's great to listen to other fanciers, their opinions on racing and how they run their lofts. Nigel was clearly very passionate and knowledgeable, and I particularly liked the 3 birds I'm handling here. They were so tame. I don't know if that has any bearing on speed, but handling birds rather than restraining them made me think about how my own birds handle. Some are more tame than others, and just like all aspects of how to train your pigeon, I wondered how much of that was down to nature, i.e. genes, or nurture.
So went to see Nigel Laycock. He's got a massive loft. Went to see Nigel Laycock. His loft up in Doncaster. Really impressive. Huge loft. Loads and loads of birds. Loads of variations for short sprint racing, for long distance racing. Got a full loft visit to watch there. So if you go to Pigeon Racer TV, you can watch the full thing. So subscribe to that channel for sure and watch that there. We've also got a Facebook page. I keep forgetting my lines. We've also got a Facebook page called How to Train Your Pigeon. So if you want to go over to that, there's 3 questions to ask. One of them you might have to Google if you're not from the UK. You might not know what the letters mean.
Ooh, a parcel.
I've actually really wanted some of these because I've got no idea where the birds are going. You know, when you send them for a training toss and then they come back like 20 minutes later than you expect them to, and you don't know why, or they come back in 1s and 2s. I've always thought how good it would be if you could see where they'd been. And I've seen a few people have had these Sky Leader GPS rings, and so what they do is they clip onto the bird's live ring once they're charged up, and then they receive a GPS signal, store that signal, and then when the bird gets home, you take the rings off. We've got a box there. Oh, look at these. I think some of them are dummies. I think they have some dummy rings. Oh, these are real, aren't they? Okay. So we've got 5 in this set.
Instruction manual here.
Yeah. So we've got 5 rings in the set. What I am going to do is I'm going to do a full video of actually using these. Oh, there we go. So that's... Oh, we'll have a look. So we've got that 5 rings, and then some gubbins in there. They must be the dummy rings. So I think what you do is you put the dummy rings on the pigeons first, so that they get used to having this big clunky white thing on their foot, on their leg, and then when they're used to that and you've flown them for a little bit, then you can put these ones on. But I would say put those on the birds that you're sure will most likely come back. So we've got 5 dummy rings and then 5 real rings. I'm guessing this is a way of charging them all at the same time. And then this,
like cookie thing.
Yeah, so we'll put that into there, charge them all on there, and then this will be how you'd get the information from the ring into your computer. So we'll do a video of that on Pigeon Racer TV, I think, and show everybody it working.
Unfortunately, the rings arrived too late for this season's training, but I'll do a full review on Pigeon Racer TV soon.